This one that we got was actually someone who had written in saying that they were or the general question is, do you think a lasting boyfriend-girlfriend relationship can work between an atheist and someone who has a strong belief in God and values religion? Basically, atheist-theist religions or relationships, can they work? That was the basic crux of it there. I believe you replied to this one also.
Yeah, several of us replied to it.
Okay, yeah.
And we all had sort of different answers.
Yeah, a little bit different answers. The person who emailed actually said that most of the people they talked to said, no, it can't work out. But they kind of had the position on it as in, from the theist perspective, it can't work because the Bible says, don't go out with anyone who is not of your belief because they will damn you to hell.
Right.
Just because the Bible says so, then you shouldn't
shake your faith.
Then
that sort of
it
thing.
can't work out. Which, just because a book says so, well, obviously we don't agree with that. My general idea on something like this, and I have talked about this with a couple other people in my past, is that it's something that can work, but it can be very difficult. And it mostly, I think, hinges on the fact that 80% of people out there typically are not strongly religious. They go to church once a year, twice a year type thing. Religion is not a central factor in their life. For those people, if you get an atheist who it comes up once in a while, once, twice a year, but it's not really a big topic of everyday life. And then you've got somebody else where they go to church on Easter and Christmas and that's it. Then something like that can work because it's not a central issue of everyday, common, constant life. It's a rare occurrence. If, however, one or both the parties in this relationship are strongly religious or non-religious, then it can definitely be an issue. As in, someone who works on this TV show is obviously going to be pretty strongly atheist. Chances of them having a successful relationship with someone who goes to church every week, pretty slim. There's going to be too many areas of contention. And basically there are three things that I think are going to be the main issues that come up amongst a relationship. First off being respect. You have to respect this other person's views, even if you don't agree with them. You have to at least be able to respect them and say, well, I don't agree with you, but I can see your line of thought, and it does make some sense, and so you can live with that.
Agree to disagree, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But a friend of mine that I was dating several years back had told me that she was of the opinion that atheist-theist relationships could not work because she could not look at a partner and respect them and accept their views and agree to disagree if they honestly believed in Santa Claus. It's just something that you just cannot respect that.
Yeah. And so we can even broaden the topic. We can say, well, can you have two different people in a couple that have different religions, get along well?
Jewish, Christian.
We have Mel Gibson who thinks his wife is going to burn in hell. He loves her very much, but sorry.
Exactly.
So, you can kind of generalize that question, and religion's a pretty foundational sort of belief in for many people. Whether or not it's particularly strong, it's a core belief.
Yeah. So, and again, that goes back to how strongly do the people in the relationship believe in this.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to look at.
So that's one. It's just plain old respecting their views. Another one is the topic of discussion, just general discussion of these things. Religion, as you said, is very foundational. It's a core belief for many people. Therefore, when someone comes along and starts challenging those views and attacking them to a certain degree, they feel like that other person is pulling away at their entire foundation of who they are and what they believe and why we are where we are. And that's usually viewed as a personal attack. A lot of times if you start debating with a religious person on, on these issues, they take it as a personal attack more than a, I don't agree with your views and here's why. Again, if this is something that comes up once, twice a year, that may not be such a big issue. You know, you have a spat once in a while, you can work through that. But if it's something that's coming up every single week, then that's going to be something very hard to get over. That's going to wear it down.
And it's probably a good idea to get that resolved before you have kids and you decide, well,
exactly.
You have these big arguments about how the kids are going to be raised and
exactly.
what faith.
Exactly. Which is the third point.
Yeah, okay. I'm jumping ahead of you.
Yes. Great minds think alike. Exactly. If there's even the contemplation that children come into the picture, can you agree on how they should be raised? Should they be raised in one religion or the other? Is one parent going to be comfortable, as in the Christian parent, among an atheist Christian, for instance, are they going to be willing to be the only one who brings them to church and teaches them all of the Christian values and, you know, Christian teachings and such? And are they going to be comfortable also having the atheist half tell them that, you know, well, look, while mommy, you know, believes in God and Jesus, you know, I don't, and here are the reasons why. Are they going to be comfortable with that? And are both of you going to be comfortable if the child decides to go in a direction that is counter to you? If you're an atheist, would you be okay with your child deciding that, well, no, the other side is, you know, Jesus makes a lot more sense than, you know, you weird atheists do. And vice versa. Is the Christian going to be okay if the kid decides to say, well, no, that other side makes a lot more sense, and so I'll go, you know, I don't believe that there is this God thing. Now, obviously, in any relationship, my last point was just, you know, in any relationship, discussion and having an open relationship are the most important things ever. These should not be an issue. Children should never be an issue for relationships because you should have that worked out by that point. If you don't have it worked out, you haven't been discussing enough, you haven't been talking enough. So if it gets down to that's an issue, you've waited too long.
Yeah. You might want to maybe even broach that subject before you get married.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, these are just as with anything, politics.
Mm-hmm. Oh, politics is another big one.
You should,
and of course, you know, there's always the money in relationships. That's another real big one. You know, you got to get that figured out.
Exactly. So yeah, this is the kind of thing that most of this should be worked out pretty early in advance before it becomes a problem.
Yep.
Really.
Yep.
So.